The lunch break is for eating, so go back to work. My ex-employer would send me out on errands all the time to the point where my lunchtime was over by the time I got back to the office. Many times, I would usually skip out on lunch because I personally did not have an appetite. One day I had to go submit some of the company documents somewhere and we were understaffed. So we agreed it's best I go during lunchtime. I submitted the documents and grabbed some lunch from a takeaway. I did not eat the lunch, I simply got it in a takeaway bag and got transport to work immediately. I arrived with only 5 minutes to spare and I was particularly hungry that day. I tried to eat as fast as possible and she was just talking to me the whole time, so I can't chew and speak at the same time. At exactly 15:01 she tells me, the lunch hour is for you to get lunch and eat it. If you cannot finish your food on time, don't eat it during work hours. Also please refrain from eating in the work area. 1. I was eating by the microwave because we do not have a designated lunch area. 2. The store, place of employment, was completely empty. I could have used a good 10 minutes to finish up. 3. I didn't have time to eat because I was running your errands. Q. Malicious compliance. One day it was lunchtime and I wasn't feeling particularly hungry, so I am standing by the cash register. My boss rushes in exclaiming how she has a lot to do and we need to get the stock out of her car as fast as possible so she can go to her next meeting. Will somebody please help me? No one responded. Op, you will help me get the stock out of the car, right? Me. I would, but lunchtime is for eating. I took a piece of gum and a bottle of water and stood in the parking lot for the whole hour. Watching her struggle with stock and look flustered. Not my problem. Too long, did not read. Boss tells me I can only use the lunch hour to eat after giving me tasks during the lunch hour on numerous occasions. So on a day she wanted to task me, I said, nope, I have to eat. Did not eat and stood quietly in her full view for an hour. Never do work during break time. If you have to run an errand for work, that is work time, not your break time. Years ago, I was the assistant MGR at a bank branch. Every day at lunch I drive around to the back of the strip mall my branch was next to and just park my car and read. If I used the break room, I was constantly interrupted. If I left, everything somehow managed to get taken care of for 45 minutes. One of my bosses pulled this shit with me. I worked non-stop on a deadline until midnight the day prior, then from 1400 the next day. I came back from lunch at 1500 and was told that I was contractually obligated to be in the office at certain times. Fine. Neither came before nor stayed after the obligated times ever again. He tried it with me again on a late afternoon, Friday, but I informed him of my contract and fucked off to a concert at quitting time. That is illegal in America. Don't know where you are, but that's unpaid time that they can't make you do anything. Sometimes I need someone to move to a different job site around break or lunch. Construction job, I always tell them, somewhere between here and there take your break, pull into a gas station or fast food restaurant, whatever, but take your time. Just don't walk into the next job site and immediately say, I need to take break now. Sit in your car if you have to in the parking lot. I often took naps at my desk. People would freak the fuck out for some reason. I had my own desk and wasn't bothering anybody. It turned out I had undiagnosed narcolepsy. I still do not see how I spend my break time had fuck all to do with them. I wonder if your boss ever connected the dots. She probably has no real recollection of having harassed you unfairly in the past. So she will never admit, if only to herself, that she created this problem. This is typical with jerks. They never remember doing or saying anything wrong. That's because their days are filled with similar behavior and it's just normal for them. Whenever possible, it's best to rub their noses in it immediately, while things are fresh. Your story made me cackle with glee. Smile with horns. So annoying when managers are rule sticklers when it is to the employee's detriment, but couldn't care less about those same rules when it suits them. Face with symbols on mouth. Good for you, but next time you do something during lunch for work, tell your boss that your lunchtime does not start until you are actually eating lunch. And if she has a problem with it, tell her you are never working during your lunch break again. And if she tries to make you leave the building for your lunch. Beautiful OK sign. Q. Malicious compliance. Don't let your pent-up malicious compliance get out of hand. Queue it up when you're done queuing it up. You gave an inch and your boss took a mile. Never give your time up for nothing. I don't know how long you've worked there or how much you like your job, but you might want to consider getting a new job and filing for OT for all the lunches you worked through. If you're in the US, this is the Great Resignation, and it wouldn't be too hard to get another job involving what sounds like fairly low pay, cash register and stock. Or hopefully a better one. Your boss doesn't deserve you. If I am required to attend a work lunch, I then take an hour off, my lunch break. Lunch to me isn't about eating, it's about a rest from work, and a work lunch is work. I'm RN and for at least 10 years missed breaks and worked overtime regularly, and getting paid was horrendous. Poor time management, being a favorite reason for them to quote, and we are, not for profit. I now work agency and have a phone app and can alter my hours before they sign. I've seen my pay rise by roughly 40%, not because I enjoy working extra but because of the workload and staff shortages. Fuck them, I really enjoyed my overtime in Fiji pre-pandemic due to their poor management. I used to work for a guy who would send me to other stores to pick up product cause I had a big car, and then when I went to take my break he would question why I couldn't fit my break in while I was driving around Boston picking up product that he should have ordered. I am the plant director of a upscale retirement facility. I have about 35-40 people underneath me. This building is over 417,000 square feet. With that being said, several times I see employees in the break, lunch area, and I normally have something I need to talk to them about. I never ever interrupt their break, lunch for work-related purposes. I always tell them, if I need to talk to you I at least want you to get paid for it. I'll see them in the break room or whatever. Hey so and so, once your break, lunch is done, can I see you in my office for a min? It's nothing bad, just want to make sure X is getting whatever. It makes a good and easy-going workplace. This story has warmed my dark heart. Your boss is breaking labor laws, they should be reported. Op. Check your jurisdiction's labor laws. This is illegal in many places. You are entitled to a break after working a certain amount of time. This break has to be entirely free of any work responsibilities. You cannot even be asked to keep an eye on the store for a fellow co-worker who is stepping away for 5 minutes, much less spending your entire break running around on errands. Depending on your exact circumstances, working through a break can entitle you to OT pay. Please document each time a request like this is made and for how long you are required to work. Depending on how long ago this was, and of course where you are, you may be able to sue to claw back some of the pay you are rightfully owed. The owner is stealing money from out of your pocket if not paying you for that time. Should have never worked during your breaks to begin with. Once they get used to something you do voluntarily, they end up expecting it is their right. I don't get paid during my lunch break. You don't get me to work during lunch break. It's that simple. It's sysadmin here. I eat my lunch at my desk, but I've trained people not to interrupt me. Person walks in, sees me eating my sandwich. Them. Oh, sorry, am I interrupting your lunch? Me. Not yet. Them. I was just one day. Me. And there it goes. If she sends you for errands, that's not break time. That's working time. Your break time would start when you got back. Was an assistant manager at a small retail store. It was only 3 or 4 people and we weren't required to punch out for lunch, and no one abused it since it was such a small staff. I would take the deposit to the bank and get something to eat on the way back. I didn't mind doing this. The only extra time it took was waiting for food since the bank was near like 7 or 8 fast food joints. A couple employees started to fuss about me taking too much time running the deposit. So I started going back to the store without stopping for food. I would then take lunch break. It took them about a week to figure out I was gone much longer this way. I never did go back to getting lunch while going to the bank. I am baffled. If your boss has you do work during your assigned lunchtime, why can't you go to lunch after? My lunchtime is for X12:1. If I have clients I go 1-2 or 2-3. Why wasn't this an option? Or leave earlier. No one sees if you work into your break, but everyone sees when you stay just 1 minute longer. The clock dictates the workday. If you are on break, you are on break. That boundary needs to be maintained or it will vanish. If you ain't paid for it, don't do it. Love the IDGAF energy. My old boss made me pay his bills all the time. Especially when he went out of town. I was hired to do legal work, not pay bills, so I didn't pay them one time he went away and then again the best time. He eventually got the message. See, when your employer teaches you that flexibility doesn't come from them, that is your chance to learn that the inflexibility must go both ways. Our management is so protective of our unpaid breaks and lunch hours that we can get written up if we get caught working during them. If I'm on my lunch break, I literally can get in trouble if I so much as bend over to pick up something a customer has dropped on the floor to return it to them. I did get reprimanded once because I ran to get a mop for a co-worker who had just dropped a pot of coffee on the floor so that she could stay and try to pick up the pieces of the carafe before someone got hurt. so I guess I should have just let her clean it up alone and risk a lawsuit if a customer slipped and got hurt. I walked in an office in DC, marketing, and every now and then different teams would host brown bag lunches, where the expectations were, they host a full-hour lunchtime event to talk about work, you attend and you supply your own brown bag lunch. I was too naive at the time to resist until I heard one of the older, highly respected women in my department mutter, "Sure, I'll attend your brown bag lunch event, then I'll go take my lunch hour." I tell my fellow workers all the time, the work will always be there, but break time is gone forever. I had to stop eating at my desk because as soon as I would get back from picking up food or heating what I had up and returning to my desk, someone would walk up, since I was the first person to encounter when entering that area, and get interrupted. Eventually I started my lunch break over every time I was interrupted. Boss put a quick stop to the engineers and people from being able to get access to our personal work desks. Looks like your boss knew you were the softie they knew they could take advantage of. Next time you need to set boundaries, the first instance of that happening. Edit. After reading what I wrote I sounded so mean. I don't mean any offense BTW, I'm just writing from what I believe your boss's perspective is. Nice. Not sure why people post stories like this. You should be taking your break, it's the law, your boss expects it. You did what you were supposed to do and it's not malicious at all, it's the law like I said. Your employer can get in massive trouble if they don't give you your required breaks. This isn't malicious compliance. This is you taking a break that is legally mandated in the US and may also be in your country. I hope you stood there blowing bubbles and snapping gum obnoxiously. Smile with horns rolling on the floor laughing. I had my boss, also retail, tell me the other day that she doesn't give break under 4 hours because the audit doesn't catch it. I didn't even take the whole 15. I took 3 min to take something in back and grab another thing. Oh, and I ate a power bar. I felt shamed for eating. Like what just happened. Bosses need to learn that humans need food and breaks. Especially in retail. Seriously, customers suck sometimes and it's not an easy job. You boss on the bright side will never ask you to run errands over lunch ever again. This is the way. Always take tour lunch. Even if you don't feel like eating. You don't know how much shit had to go down for that to even be an opportunity. Making you work on your lunch break. That's called wage theft, and is illegal as fuck. You should go to your state's Department of Labor and make a claim for wage theft. They take that shit seriously. No matter how helpful you want to be, your lunch break should be for whatever you want to do. You don't need to eat, but don't work. Your company is basically getting free work out of you. Same as if they asked you to come in an hour early without pay. Haha, I love that you did it with gum and water. You rock. What happened, my dude, is that your employer was stealing your time, and you were allowing it. Glad you wised up, this happens all the time. This kind of exploitation needs to be denormalized, but try hards. We all know some of those temporarily embarrassed millionaires keep doing shit like this to kiss ass. If you were in the USA, you could have reported her to L&I for making you work during your lunch break, or any other time off the clock, and you would have owned her soul. I mean, should always be like this. Or you get paid for that time you're working. FCK your boss. I used my lunch breaks as nap time.